Hello, everyone. My name is Richard Hyman. I'm the president of Future Frogmen. We are a nonprofit, and our mission is to foster ocean ambassadors and future leaders. We hope you'll check out our website, futurefrogmen.org, and subscribe, and also follow us on social media. Today we have Miss Ellen Cuylaerts with us, and it's such a pleasure for me to welcome Ellen. I met Ellen a year ago at the Explorers Club, almost a year ago, during World Oceans Week. And it was interesting because I popped into the back of the room. We had been on a break, and I heard somebody speaking in the main room. I went back to retrieve a notebook, and I did not want to go in that front door and interrupt whoever was speaking. So I came in the back, and there was Ellen speaking to an audience. And I was so impressed by Ellen's presentation, her words, and her wonderful photography. But her stories of adventure and her personal story is so fascinating. And I even have learned more in preparation for today's call about Ellen. But Ellen is, one thing we're going to talk about today is Ellen is curating the photography competition for this year's UN World Oceans Day, which is June 8th. So I look forward to Ellen telling us about what she's doing there, and that's part of the reason we're doing this call to help World Oceans Day, the United Nations World Oceans Day, and the Friends of the United Nations World Oceans Day. I recently heard Ellen on a wonderful webinar she did on for a lady named Chantel, and it's called Diver Medic. And among the places you can find it is on Facebook. It'll give you additional insights into Ellen, and you'll see some of her photography there, which is just amazing. And I learned some things there that Ellen actually has or had or has still a health issue, and that's why it was fitting for Diver Medic for her to be speaking with them, as well as some of the mental things that go along with being a safe and professional diver. You really have to have your act together and be of sound mind, which we'll ask Ellen about that today as well. Ellen talks about some things that really resonate with me and with what we're doing at Future Frogmen. Communication. Like today, this is a form of communication. We try to bring stories to you, our listeners. And we use video, audio, and writing to do that, all for the good of the ocean. We try to inspire people to better understand the ocean and to protect it. Ellen talks about being part of a team, and we have a great team of volunteers and interns at Future Frogmen, and we welcome people of all ages and all backgrounds. We're an interdisciplinary organization, so we welcome that. And Ellen's comments about being part of a team are so important when you're on expedition, and that really resonated. And Ellen also talked about don't let anybody tell you what you can or cannot do. That is so important, and it takes a lot of courage and experience. Future Frogmen is born out of mentoring, and that I think that is one of the things we try to do at Future Frogmen, is to give people the courage like Ellen has, and go for it. Just say yes to adventure and whatever your passion might be. And you may not know what your passion is; it may be still developing. And then finally, age. Age doesn't matter. It's all relative, but people of all ages go out and pursue that adventure and what inspires you in life. So I went to Ellen's website, and Ellen's very modest on her website. She doesn't really show many, if any, of her real awards and so forth. She does talk about her story and shares some photographs. So ellencuylaerts.com, Cuylaerts.com, ellencuylaerts.com. But Ellen is, she's an award-winning freelance photographer underwater as well as on land, and also on ice, Ellen, right? As you photograph seals and polar bears and so forth atop the ice in some of the harshest climates in the world. Ellen seems to gravitate towards cold water, which fascinates me, but that takes a special person. And I know one of the reasons she must do it is because of the creatures she finds there and her affection for them. She's a fellow of Explorers Club International. She's a member of the Flag and Honors Committee at the Explorers Club. She's an inductee to the Women's Divers Hall of Fame. Ellen has a master's in history and education, and also a professional career in information technology before she became a diver, I believe that was. So Ellen's from Belgium, but she lives in Grand Cayman, of all places, which is a pretty nice place to live, I'd say. So with that, I'd like to just share a brief trailer with you of a film that Ellen wrote and at least co-wrote and participated in directing as well. Ellen can tell us more about that in a moment.
Deciding to go into the water to win that fear, it is impressive.
One of the things Ellen also said recently in the presentation I saw is that she gets to hang out with cool people. And we're really pleased to have you with us today, Ellen, because we get to hang out with you, a cool person today. So with that, Ellen, welcome.
Thank you, Richard, again.
And yes, Ellen was gracious enough to do a conversation with us last summer and with one of our interns, and it's great to have you back. Ellen, could you tell us, let's start at the beginning and tell us about your youth and what brought you to this time and place.
I grew up in Belgium, actually close to Antwerp, which is a beautiful city full of history. But it was a city, but I did go a lot to the countryside because my parents in the weekends, they worked there. And I was actually enjoying just being free in nature, and between being young and without any worries and having a professional life, I lost being in touch with nature a bit because you get busy. And it was only when I had children that they actually drew me back into nature, because they were very interested in wildlife and animals in different environments. And I started to show more interest again, and I started to research a lot about animal behavior again. And then, well, this is really in short, because if you want the whole story, you have to watch Epiphany. But actually, my kids are very smart. They're now adults. They're very smart. They have high functioning autism, and they were not happy in school. So I took them out of school while still living in Belgium, and I started homeschooling them myself. And it was a bit of a gap between our little bubble as a family, having different social rules, and because there's a few things you have to consider when you have a family with people that have autism. The gap between social life, which is normally accepted in Belgium, and our life was getting too big, and we were not happy. So we decided to go to another place, and we ended up in the Cayman Islands, because before relocating, we went on a few holidays and we realized snorkeling, so being underwater together with the children, was actually something we could do as a family, and we all enjoyed. So it was decided we would move to a place with nice blue water and living close by the sea, because it always made me happy and calm. And we ended up in Grand Cayman. And once we were here, this whole family life and the structure of your days became a slower pace. So I could do the teaching of the children, and then I had a bit more time for myself, because I had no social obligations anymore. And I picked up diving and photography, because the diving, well, it was evident when you live so close, you have to give it a chance. And the photography was something I always wanted to do, but when I was young and I had to choose what I was going to study, it was still a very expensive study, and it was days of digital photography, and not digital, like the old-fashioned photography, and I couldn't afford it. So I applied for a scholarship, and I studied history, which was my second passion.
Thanks for watching. For more information, visit our website at www.futurefrogmen.org.